The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pack wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
It's Rivalry Week. College wrestling doesn't get any better than when you host your conference rival this late in the season. Wolfpack Nation, we are putting out a call to action. Let's pack Reynolds Coliseum red this Friday night as the 6th-ranked NC State Wolfpack will host number 24 North Carolina at 7:30. That will be just one of the many topics we'll be discussing in this brand new episode of the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Welcome, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt, and here to talk all things NC State wrestling is the head coach of the Wolfpack, Pat Popolizio.
Good afternoon, Brian.
Pat, great to be back, coming off a great weekend of action, and I'm not just talking about all the NCAA duels that have been on TV lately, but the Super Bowl was quite a contest. Now, you fashioned yourself a Giants fan last time we talked, had to hurt a bit to see the rival Eagles win, but you have a few guys in the room and around the program who are diehard Eagle fans, probably going, I'd say, all the way back to October. So Monday practice had to be a little uplifting for these Super Bowl winners.
Yeah, we got to give them their time and their credit for that. It was good. It's affected our mood this week, so I'm happy for them. If that's what it requires, then I'm good with it.
I was told the bandwagon got a little heavy there, maybe third, fourth quarter, but the game played out pretty well.
It might have upset Obi more than anybody. So,
but back to Wolfpack wrestling. Reynolds Coliseum was just electric when the Pack defeated Virginia a couple weeks ago. Now, we hope to see even more NC State fans out there for this Friday's duel against North Carolina. If you're a true Wolfpack fan, you want to show up and cheer against that team in blue. And Pat, coming from New York and wrestling at Oklahoma State, you've been down here for 6 seasons now, but how would you rate the NC State-UNC rivalry overall?
Yeah, that's something I, over time learned how important it is to this area, and obviously between the two schools, it's great. I think sports needs that, wrestling needs that, we need that to continue to grow, and it has, and it gets intense, and it makes us better. I'm sure it makes anybody we're competing against better, and these environments are what make college wrestling great, and to get the ACC to that next level, which we're doing, we need these kind of dual meets.
And we strongly encourage Wolfpack fans to come out this Friday night for a great night of ACC action. Tickets are available online at gopack.com/buy tickets. And you can also purchase them at the Reynolds Coliseum ticket office the night of the duel. Now, Pat, we teased in the last episode a big surprise will be in store for fans that attend Friday night's duel against the Tar Heels. Me and you went back and forth a lot this past week. Should we break the news? Should we keep it a secret? But I think we both agree a lot of people work behind the scenes to make this happen. And this is something you will just have to see in person. We really can't do it justice by describing it here on the podcast. But, Pat, we want to see those seats full of red on Friday night.
Absolutely. This is going to be something unique, different. I'm not sure. I know in my time in the ACC it hasn't been done yet. So I'd like to say it's probably the first time this has ever been done for an ACC duel, but I'm not sure if that's the case. So, yeah, people are going to have to come here in person to see it and be a part of something that's probably going to hopefully create a trend moving forward for the ACC.
And we're going to talk all about this weekend's UNC duel. We're going to recap the Pitt win from this past weekend. Special guest will be redshirt Pete Renda, but I got to get back to my plugs. I gave the fans a week off, but some people are wondering why we didn't give out some T-shirts last week.
That's on you, Brian.
That is on me, but I fully expect all of our great listeners are already subscribed on their various podcast platforms.
You know what you need to do is give them the T-shirt when they're at the dual meet.
Well, a lot of people have come up to me at the dual meet asking me if they can get a T-shirt.
Get Melissa to give you a box or a bag with some goodies in it.
We need some Pat Poppins T-shirts.
There you go.
Those would sell.
There you go.
But so we're going to get back to giving away some Wolfpack gear. It's that time that we just need to get back doing this. Again, Wolfpack fans, to be eligible to win free NC State wrestling gear, head over to iTunes and leave the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast a rating and review. Just search Pack Mentality. It's all one word. This week's winner for an NC State Wrestling t-shirt is Matt_R, who left a great review back on January 1st. Just DM us on Twitter at PackWrestle, and we will get you that prize. We give away free gear all the time. We have guests that give away free gear all the time. So just leave us a rating and review on iTunes, and we'll keep doing these random drawings on future episodes. Now back to the mat. The Wolfpack improved to 13-1 on the season, 3-0 in ACC action with a 23-9 win at Pitt this past weekend. The Pack won 7 of the 10 matches, including all 5 before intermission to go up 17-0 and never look back. Pat, we'll get into specifics, even talk about who wrestled and who didn't, but a very business-like road win for the Pack to remain perfect in ACC action.
Yeah, it's great to get up to Pittsburgh, get that win. Great environment for college wrestling, and obviously a tough team that they always put out there. So it was good. Our guys were ready. They competed hard, and got a few new faces in the lineup to get some valuable experience, but it was good. Other than being 6 degrees, walking about a half a mile from where we had to park the car to the hotel, it was a great weekend.
Little adversity. You used to thrive on it.
Yeah, I grew up in the cold, and now I think that this weather is a little more enjoyable, and that's why I think people need to be moving to Raleigh.
You messed my train of thought back up. People, subscribe to the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast everywhere you get your podcast. That was a quick read, but I just want to get that plug in there. For the second straight duel, we start at 149 pounds. Bo Donahue, Hayden Hidley, and Pete Renda picked up victories before the intermission, all improved to a perfect 3-0 in ACC action. Brian Hammond was strong on top for the win at 165, and Daniel Bullard, he scored his first ACC bonus point win. What stood out to you in those first 5 matches that put you guys up 17-0?
Yeah, I think Bo set the tone of that dual meet coming out. And, I think usually he's with the 4th match in our lineup. So getting that first nod the last 2 weeks, he's got to be ready to compete. It just so happened we started there. Hayden going out, getting bonus point win against the returning ACC champ in a dominant fashion. And, I like what he's doing right now, and no matter where he's at in the match, he's looking for that next level of whether it's a major decision or tech fall, and he's staying aggressive all the way through, and that stuff's going to pay off for him as it already has. 65, Hammond got down early and fought his way back and held on for a solid win there against a pretty competitive kid that, I'm sure they're going to see each other again before the season's over. And Daniel Bullard probably looked the best he has all year, and offense was firing, looked good on top, and aggressive stuff that we've been working on, he executed. So that was all positive stuff. And, Pete's finding ways to win and still staying focused and patient, and got those first 5 wins. So that was great to see from those guys.
And I know you wanted to give a little thank you. The NC State gymnastics team, they were competing the next day in Pittsburgh, but they showed up and they made a lot of noise for you guys.
Absolutely. That's what makes, NC State athletics special is the support you get from everybody. Whether we're home or on the road, that was very nice to have, and I felt like we had a really good fan base there with, Tariq's high school team came in there, and Hayden's family. I think they had about 25 people in the cheering section there, so it was good. A positive environment for us as NC State being on the road.
As a Pittsburgh native, everybody just wants to go to Pittsburgh, so it was a good excuse. You won't find that.
Is that for the weather or the food?
Everything.
Okay.
It's a great city. Moving up to heavyweight, Michael Boykin got the start and knocked off a 3-time NCAA qualifier, number 19 Ryan Solomon 5-3. Boykin scored both of the takedowns in the bout, one in the first and the winning takedown 15 seconds left. The win was his 3rd over a ranked foe this season. The first 2 are guys currently ranked 5 and 6 in the nation. So what did Boykin show you in his first duel since November?
He's improved rapidly as the season's gone on. His confidence has gotten better, and that's the biggest thing with him. He's very difficult to wrestle. I think the way that he's built and how powerful he is and his positioning is very challenging for a heavyweight wrestler. And if he continues to do what he's doing, he's going to be very dangerous at the end of the year because he has the ability to hang in there and beat anybody in the country. And he's got great training partners here, having Nick around to help him, and Kasoy, and then obviously Malik in the room. There's a lot of options right now for heavyweight here to continue to grow and get better, and I like where we're at with him. I think his best wrestling's still ahead of him, but he's made very big strides as the season's progressed.
And Boykin's been at 285 for 2 years now. Have you sparred with him in the mat room yet?
We sparred the other day on the road, actually, in Pittsburgh, and I won't ever do that again because he's like touching a rock. He's very strong and powerful, and I think he doesn't realize that half the time. So you got to be careful when you roll around with Boykin. Was
there a result?
They stopped it. It was a stoppage.
Just injury default?
Yeah, okay. We had to be careful. We had to get ready for a dual meet.
So back at Pitt at 141, you bumped up Jamel Morris, and he came away with a 12-8 win over the 19th-ranked wrestler in the country. Pretty impressive. Not only did he bump up a weight, but he got a ranked win over a guy in the duel's final match.
Big win for Jamel. That was great to see. It's very hard to do, first of all, to weigh in and then bump up a weight class and be competitive, and to do it against a kid that's nationally ranked. I think it speaks a lot for Jamel and the progress that he's made, and obviously having some depth to be able to do that. That was very big. He's continuing to get better, and that experience that these guys are able to get in our lineup is valuable. And being in a setting like that, where it's only going to make him better and our program better moving forward.
And probably what our fans want to know about just as much as the results is why certain guys do not wrestle in certain duels. You decided to rest both Kevin Jack and Michael Machiavello. Now, they both weighed in and were ready to go, but what is the philosophy for a coach to sit a starter or two in a duel, especially this late in the season?
As a staff, we talked about it. We just felt where we were at, and looking at the experience, some of the opponents that they had, it was better to put Tyler and Jamel in there. If they happen to wrestle each other in the ACCs, I think where we're at and what we've been able to accomplish this year. I know Kevin's had very good results against the Pitt kids, so that was something that was just, I'd rather have our guys that we know we're going to rely on moving forward maybe next year in some matches, get that experience, and we're in position as a team to be able to do that. There was no seeding issues on it. If there was an issue where you had the number 1 or 2 guy in the conference, we would have wrestled them, and we knew 41 that was not going to be the case, and 97 definitely as well. So that was mainly the reasoning behind it.
Now on to Friday night's duel. We might have mentioned it, but the Wolfpack will host ACC foe North Carolina this Friday night in Reynolds at 7:30. The Tar Heels sit at 8-9 on the season, with at least 8 of those duels against ranked foes. UNC is 2-1 in ACC action, knocking off both Virginia and Pitt before falling at Virginia Tech this past weekend. Pat, the Tar Heels are pretty battle-tested this season with that strong schedule.
Yeah, they have wrestled a very challenging schedule, so we know we got to be ready in our end. They're coming in here with a lot of experience in big dual meets this year, so it'll be another good atmosphere, and looking forward to the challenge that lies ahead. But yeah, it's going to be one of those that, no matter who's coming in or what's going on or what weight a guy's wrestling, you just know the atmosphere and what it means to, the kids that are at both programs at this time in their career. It matters to them, so you're always going to get everybody's best, and that's what makes this something special.
The new Intermat rankings just came out this week. 15 total wrestlers in this duel are going to be ranked, so a lot of great action. UNC comes into the duel with 7 ranked wrestlers. Leading the way for the Tar Heels is number 9, redshirt-senior Troy Heilman. He's 24-4 on the year, and maybe one of the most improved wrestlers nationally. NC State will counter with number 13, Bo Donahue. Bo 17-2 in his final season, having won 11 of his last 12 matches, and he's a perfect 9-0 in duels. The two have split a pair of matchups over the last couple of seasons. This should be a great bout with a pair of redshirt seniors and probably determine the number 1 seed for the ACC championship.
Yeah, you got 2 guys. I think you can say the same for Bo. He's improved a lot this year as well. So that's it's good to see 2 guys, their careers ending on a high note, both being fifth-year seniors. And I bet you they both have similar stories to where the progress they've made in their time in their college program. So both have hung in there and done some great things. So I'm looking forward to this one. Obviously, this is a challenge for us and one that we're probably not favored in. So we got to let things fly and go out there. And it's a match that I think in the years past, like you said, they split. So it's something that is winnable for us for sure. But we know it's a tall challenge with a kid that's been wrestling very well, and I know we're looking forward to it, and I know Bo especially has been wrestling some of his better matches, so it should be a good time to go out there and compete.
Now, that is just one of the many ranked matchups that fans will get to enjoy in Reynolds this Friday. We could also be seeing ranked versus ranked at 141, 157, 184, 197, 285. So just a lot of great matchups. This should be a lot of fun, like I said, in the duel. And there are a lot of ACC and even NCAA championship seeding implications in this one.
Definitely. And that's what makes good duel meets is when you do get two ranked guys meeting up. And especially in this environment, because it's gonna matter. It's gonna matter for ACC, and then the better guys, obviously for NCAA. So it's something that everybody in our end will be ready. Looking forward to the challenge, and I feel like our experiences that we've had this year, and for guys in their career, will put them in position to be ready to compete at this dual meet.
197 is another matchup I wanted to touch on, and just happens it's the two worst names to pronounce, but we're going to give it a shot here. We'll be seeing 6th-ranked Michael Macchiavello take on 15th-ranked Daniel Shade of UNC. Shade's 18-7 on this season and won 3 matchups at last year's NCAAs. The two have some history. Last year in the duel at UNC, Mock weighed in at 184, but he bumped up to the 197 bout, but fell in overtime 3-1. So that was Mock's only ACC loss last season. Being a native of the state of North Carolina, safe to say that Mock is out for a little bit of a revenge this year.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the case for him. He gave up some weight last year, and we bumped him up, and he hung in there, and obviously did not win. So I think that's motivated him to have that opportunity to revenge that loss for personal satisfaction, being satisfied with that. So it's one of those where he's got to go out, be ready to compete, do what he does best. And Mock is one of those that brings his A game. The better the competition is, I think the better that he brings and rises his level of competition. So he's going to be ready. I know he's motivated and looking forward to Friday night as much as anybody.
Again, Wolfpack fans, NC State hosts North Carolina this Friday night at 7:30 in Reynolds. After the duel, the Wolfpack will be also signing autographs, so it's a great chance to come meet the team afterwards. Purchase your tickets now online at gopack.com/buy tickets, or get them the day of the duel. The ticket office at the front of Reynolds Coliseum will be open. Pat, we plug the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast and how everybody should be subscribed, but I think you cannot stress this enough. We really would appreciate seeing the stands full of Wolfpack fans this weekend.
More than ever. We need as much support as we can get, obviously starting on Friday night, but the next 3 dual meets at home give us a lot of momentum going into the postseason. But to continue to brand this program and jump levels, we have to have that fan base at home, and it needs to be rowdy and just action-packed. I can promise you on our end, as far as a program and then the marketing side of things and what we're going to do inside the Reynolds is going to be first class and something that probably people will be talking about for a while. A lot of excitement that's going to go down there, but I can also say the product that'll be on the mat will be rewarded as well.
Still a giant tease, fans, but we promise Reynolds will you just won't be able to. This is going to be something totally new for Reynolds and just have a different look, and we're really excited. A lot of people have put in a lot of work. Pat, you broke out the checkbook. We were really excited about that, so it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, and thanks to some people behind the scenes making this work, it's going to be first class.
So in our guest segment this week, redshirt-senior Pete Renda stopped by after practice to talk about his season and his Wolfpack career. Pete has been with you for 5 seasons, and he helped lay the foundation of this program as part of this strong senior class. He's approaching 100 career wins, and even more impressive, he's already earned his undergrad degree, and he's been working towards a master's. Can you talk about what Pete has brought to your program?
No doubt about it. I think when you look back, Pete was a guy that took a chance on NC State wrestling. We just finished year 1 here. I think we were 4-5 on the year, 0 whatever in the ACC. We obviously had a complete makeover with our entire roster. A lot of changes were going on. And for a kid like that to kind of buy what we were selling him as far as our vision, I think he defines what NC State wrestling is all about. And the reason we're at today, he's had a huge part of that. As I tell our guys, they're buying into the stock that we're a part of, and he was a guy that obviously has made that happen. Our stock's risen because of a guy like Pete Renda, and what he's done for, his individual career. Obviously, is a major impact on our team, and what he's done at the national tournament is one thing, but what he's done day to day, just kind of the person he is and what he's about, is first class. Just a positive role model for all different directions in his life, and is going to go on. Whether he stays and continues to compete or he gets out in the real world and starts working, no doubt about it, Pete Renda is going to continue to have the same success that he's had at the college level.
Pat, are you aware Bo Donahue, Kevin Jack, and Pete Renda once got a pet pig?
I am well aware of that, and I was seeing how long it would take before they broke and got rid of it, and it wasn't very long, actually.
You told me it was 4 months. That's pretty long.
Yeah, it is, but 4 months, I think, it broke them all, and they all finally, I think they gave it away, and it's on a farm now, back somewhere in PA.
Pat, thanks for recovering from that Giants loss. I'm sure talking some NC State wrestling and about the rivalry week made the Eagles Super Bowl win a little more tolerable. And good luck against North Carolina this Friday night at Reynolds.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to having the stands packed with Sea of Red.
We're now joined by redshirt-senior Pete Renda. Pete, welcome to the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And before we even dive into wrestling, I have to ask you about this past weekend. You're from Topton, Pennsylvania, which is about 2 hours outside of Philly. You said you're not the biggest Eagles fan, but you're around a lot of Eagles fans. Just how was this past weekend?
It was pretty fun to watch. Like you said, I'm not a big Eagles fan, but I got on the Wentz wagon this year a little bit, and seeing a lot more Eagles sweatshirts and shirts around now.
How many of your teammates have been on the bandwagon this year?
The whole year, I would say 2. Robbie and Hayden are pretty serious fans, but after this weekend, people are pretty happy to see the Patriots go down.
So now on to the wrestling mat. Pete, you're off to a perfect 18-0 start at 184 this season, including 13-0 in duels and 3-0 in the ACC. Not just for yourself, but the team's also off to a great start, sitting at 13-1 heading into the final month. A good start, but still a long way to go to accomplish some of those personal and team goals that you guys have.
I think I'm really excited about where our season's at right now, and I think we're doing a great job. Compared to 2 years ago, there's a lot less ups and downs, but I think we're ready to peak at the right time.
And I'm going to start by going back to your 2016 season. You entered your third NCAA championships as the number 13 seed and had one of the best runs by any NC State wrestler in history. You took third. It was your first All-American season, but probably most impressive, you had four top 10 seeds you defeated, including 2 in the top 5 and a Tech Fall in the third place bout. Plus, all that happened at Madison Square Garden, which is just the mecca of all arenas. But how was that season for you, and just how exciting was that run?
That season was just super fun. We only lost one dual meet. We beat Iowa and Okie State, which was just incredible. And a lot of growing that season for me and the whole team, and it was just a whole lot of fun. I got a lot of experience, and now I'm ready to come back and win the whole thing.
That 2016 season was also your first at 184. As your first 2 seasons here at NC State, you were a 2-time NCAA qualifier at 174. What went behind the decision to move up a weight class, and just what are some of the biggest differences?
I think the main thing was I got a fresh start mentally, kind of. The weight class change I don't think was a huge difference, but I think what changed was my mentality, because I had lost to a lot of the guys at 174 that were coming back, and just moving up to 84, I just got a fresh start.
So after that 2016 season, there was a tough choice for yourself and the coaching staff. The ultimate decision came down to you taking a redshirt year last year in what would have been your final season. What went into that decision, and how did a redshirt year that late in your career help to where you are right now?
Last year, taking a redshirt was it was a tough decision, but I got a lot of experience last year. I got to wrestle some freestyle, which I hope to keep doing after this year. And I got to go out to the Olympic Training Center, which was a great experience, training with some of the best guys in America. And also just being around some of the younger guys, being able to help try to influence some of them, and just hopefully this year, it was all to bring home a team trophy this year.
I'm sure everybody will agree that decision to redshirt has paid off, as you've been ranked number 3 in every poll this entire season. How would you rate your season up to this point?
I would say it started kind of slow. I had some things I was working out, and that's one of the things I've learned this year is that it never really gets easy. There's always new challenges. Now this year I'm working on guys that don't really want to wrestle, want to keep it a close match, and so that's a new challenge for me is figuring out how I can open those guys up and score points on them. So there's always something new to learn, and that's part of the fun. That's what makes wrestling so fun. But
is it frustrating for you when the guy will choose neutral and doesn't start bottom?
Yeah, it's frustrating, but it's smart on their part, and it's good to have it happen now rather than NCAA. So I learned how to wrestle guys like that.
I'm not sure there's a wrestler in the lineup with a tougher end of the dual season than yourself. You close out the regular season facing 3 ranked opponents, including 2 in the top 10. Ness from UNC is number 17. Zavasky from Virginia Tech is 8. And former national champion Miles Martin of Ohio State is 2. And you guys have a little history of a match last year. Just how excited are you for the challenge of these last 3 matches heading into the postseason?
All 3 of those are going to be great matches. UNC is going to be a great team match. I'm really excited for that one. And then Zavasky, we split matches. I think he's actually up 2-1 on me right now. So I got to get that one back. And then Martin, we're 1-1 as well. So I beat him in folk style last year, and then he beat me in freestyle in the off season. So they're all going to be fun matches.
And how much do you enjoy competing in the renovated Reynolds Coliseum, and how important is it for the team to wrestle in front of a packed, loud crowd this Friday against North Carolina?
It makes all the difference. That match against UVA was great, having big crowd there, and I know UNC is going to be a close match, and we'd love to have a lot of fans there.
And you're also sitting on 91 career wins at NC State as we enter the home stretch. 9 more, and you'll become only the 10th NC State wrestler in school history to reach the century mark. Looking back at your career a bit, what kind of accomplishment is that for you?
Yeah, I didn't know I was that close, but
breaking news here.
Yeah, that's
on the
probably
podcast.
9 out of my last 10 matches. That's really cool to be a part of that group. I don't know what else. I think that'd be awesome if I can get 100.
And kind of rare, Kevin Jack got that feat earlier this year. You guys would be the first set of teammates to do it in the first season. So senior leadership really going strong in this final campaign for you guys, I would say. But speaking of Kevin, we had fellow senior Bo Donahue on a previous episode of the podcast, and he was telling us a story. He just glanced it over really quick. He mentioned you, Kevin, and himself bought a pet pig. Now, you have to tell our listeners a little about how the idea came about and how, or should I say, why the situation came to an end.
So it was a spur of the moment thing. We were sitting at home, and I think Bo wanted a pet, so we started looking up what kind of animals make good pets, and we saw pig come up on a bunch of lists. So we found some website that is basically like a Craigslist for animals, and we met this guy at a CVS. And he pulled up in a Mustang with a bleeding pig, and he just gave us the pig. And so we had this bleeding pig in the back of Kevin's car, and Bo was squished up against the window on one side, and the pig was on the other side just squealing its head off. And so we had a good run with him, but I think after 4 months, we just decided he was too much.
Who is the ultimate caretaker of that trio?
Oh, geez, that's tough. I would say we shared, or lack thereof, kind of the responsibility for him.
Now, you've earned your undergrad degree in finance last spring, and for the past year, you've been working on a master's in economics. I know it's a few months away, but what does your post-NC State future hold, both in wrestling and with your education?
So I think after this year, I want to keep wrestling, so I'm going to put off the job search for a little bit and keep wrestling. But then after that, if I'm not sure exactly where I'm headed career-wise.
Can we break the news here? Do you have a idea of where you'll continue to wrestle?
If everything works out, I hope to be in Raleigh still.
The RTC would love to have you here and continue on, but going back, you got to travel to Italy in January. I know you're a huge pizza fan. How was the Italian pizza? What were some of the differences? What did you enjoy about that trip?
The Italy trip was awesome. Just to see all the different things culturally and just the little things that made it fun were just how they work things differently in Italy. But the pizza was definitely good. It was a lot different. There was a lot less cheese, but great sauce and really good crust.
Now, for each of our student athletes guests, I like to end the interview with 7 quick questions. So just say the first thing that pops into your head. And I've asked this first one to everybody, and the same answer has come. So I just want to see if you'll say too. Messiest locker.
Mock.
He continues his streak.
Second place is probably Bo.
Okay, well, see, Bo said he would have put himself first, but he had to vote for Mock too. Favorite cardio machine?
I'll go with the rowing machine.
Okay. If you weren't on the NC State wrestling team, what sport would you try to have pursued in college?
Soccer.
Did you play soccer in high school?
I played up till my junior year.
Okay. What was your favorite class here at NC State?
Favorite class? I would go food science just because I already knew most of that stuff, so it was pretty easy.
I know you're in the master's program, but who would you most likely ask to help you with your schoolwork?
Let's see. Chad, if he was still here.
I'm sure you could still reach out. Chad was a popular answer.
Yeah.
Mountain or beach person?
Ooh, that's tough. I'll go mountain.
And last, you have a favorite TV show that you're hooked on right now?
Right now, called The Marvel's Runaways.
Where would you find that?
Hulu.
Hulu. Okay. Pete, I really appreciate you stopping by, letting us catch up with you. These next 3 home duels are going to be really exciting wrestling for our home fans, so just good luck to you the rest of the season.
Thanks for having me on. Hope to see the fans at the matches.
And Pack fans, don't forget, you still have 3 more chances to see the NC State wrestling team in home action starting this Friday night against rival North Carolina. Buy those tickets at gopack.com/buy tickets or come to Reynolds on match day and purchase them at the ticket office. Let's pack Reynolds Coliseum red for all these home duels. I want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering all things NC State wrestling. And until next time, Wolfpack wrestling fans, go Pack!
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to mattalkonline.com.